So far, we've shared a number of different ideas about the topic of thinking. It's definitely not an exhausted exploration of thinking. It's just a few ideas that came to my mind that we shared at the melava malka, and hopefully it's improving, it's changing the way we're relating to ourselves and the world around us. I'd like to speak about the idea of searching out the Nekudas Tovas, as we know from Rabbi Nachman Azamra. And really, this is the world of Torah, the world of Torah, the world of the Baal Shem Tov, the world of the Gra, the world of the Heilige Bedicheva, to have the ability to change up the way we perceive something. So I'll give you, for example, one interesting Maisa that I heard from my great uncle, the Sasva Rebbe. He would say, with the Heilige Bedicheva, why do we learn Gemara Be'in? What's the point of learning Gemara Be'in, or what's one point of learning Gemara Be'in? So you would say that one point of learning Gemara Be'in is that we can, with speed, look at a situation in many various ways, searching out the Nekuda Tova within the matzav. You know, Chevra, it's very interesting because just as your thinking leads you to relate and act to a certain situation in a particular way, funnily enough, the other person's thinking has led them to relate and act to any given particular situation in that way. And this is what's happening to all human beings. And it's important to think about the reality of how our thinking leads us to a situation. Where is our thinking leading us? Where is our thinking leading us? Where is the other person's thinking leading them? And an important exercise that the Pilzno Rav would share with me would be to potentially think about how that person who maybe you've had a run-in with or maybe disagrees with you, how has their life experience, how has their many different experiences throughout their life potentially led up to that moment? And it's very interesting because, for example, many a time when you speak to somebody or you speak to two people who are having an argument or disagreement, when you really listen and you really try to excavate where they are coming from, you can actually come to understand what's going on. For example, if a person had to fight all their life for the particular something that they want to achieve. So yes, they may become angry and aggravated, and they may become very boisterous when they are approaching you. Or a person who really hasn't had to fight to get what they needed. Or, for example, you may look at somebody and they really, in their life, they really don't try. Come on, try, get on with it. But then if you look and they've been, so to speak, given everything on a silver plate. They've always been given everything and they've never worked. Maybe they don't know how to work. Maybe they don't necessarily, it's not because they want to or they don't want to, they just don't know how to. It's something which really is distant to them. Or somebody who has never exercised and now they have to exercise and they find it difficult. If you speak to them and figure out what's gone on to lead them here, sometimes you can come to realize, oh, I understand that. I understand that you've heard this and this information, and it happens to be the information you believe is not true, but I do believe that's where you're coming from. Okay, I hear that that's your experience. Wow. And then Nekuda Tova is trying to figure out, how did they get there? What's gone on in their life to bring them to this point? And it takes practice. It takes patience. It's becoming a conscious practitioner of finding the Nekuda Tova. Because all of us work within our own realm of logic. For one person, it may not seem logical at all. For the other person, it seems very logical. And when we learn to appreciate this and we learn to hear the other and hear how the other person's thinking led them to this, and we can say, okay, I hear you, I can repeat it back to them, then when we're all doing this, it's much easier to create change in the world. But when we're constantly relating to our first answer, when we are constantly emotionalizing our thinking, when we have got such cluttered mind and we don't have bandwidth to open up to different forms of thinking, when we're overwhelmed, it's very difficult. When we can slow down and become present, when we realize that, you know what, this thinking isn't birthing a healthier, better relationship. My ego's in the way. When I can let go and surrender to something more than that which is going on in my life. Life is lived differently, my friends. So the takeaway here, think about the fact how just as my thinking led me to this behavior, somebody else's thinking led them to this behavior as well. And why might that be? Has something gone on in their life to lead them here? And learn to hopefully find the Nekuda Tova. Okay, I get that. I can understand that. I can resonate with that. I may disagree, but I can have more compassion on that other person. I can realize the Nekudas Tovas. Again, we do have a strong element of control over our thinking. So reflect upon that, my friends. Mamash yishna bracha, mazel and hatzlacha. And Be'ezras Hashem, we should live with hope, gratitude, resilience. And may we know how to live deeply. May we live a life where we live mamash. We love deeply, and what we do, we recognize it matters. It matters, and may we be beings where we can see, hear the other person, makabel the other person. We could see, hear, and makabel ourselves. May we think our way to wonderful and wondrous ways of living, and live wondrously and wonderfully.